And I'd just like to revisit the concept of prefixes and how they relate to scientific notation and how they can help us to manipulate numbers. So first of all, we've got this idea of bigger or smaller. So if we go from, so milli is 10 to the minus 3, micro 10 to the minus 6, nano 10 to the minus 9, pico 10 to the minus 12, femto 10 to the minus 15. So these are things you need to learn off by heart. Okay, so if we go from milli to micro, we go from 10 to the minus 3 to 10 to the minus 6, that's divided by 10 to the minus 3. And the other way, you're multiplying by 10 to the 3. So the same thing all the way around. So we're dividing by 1,000 to get from micro to nano, multiplying by 1,000 the other way, etc. Okay, so what does that mean? So that tells us, so this is bigger, and this is smaller. So 1 milligram comprises 1,000 micrograms. Or 1,000,000 nanograms, etc. Because a milligram is 1,000 times bigger than a microgram. Okay, so I just want to really press that point home. This should be in your minds. Alright, so we can also use prefixes in the case of when we have a concentration and we want to change between different volumes. So I'll show you what I mean. So we can change both the mass and volume in a concentration by the same factor. Let's say, so if I've got 1 mig per mil, then that's the same as, then we can divide both the grams and the litres by 1,000. So that's the same as saying 1 microgram in 1 microliter, or 1, because I'm dividing my grams by 1,000 and also dividing my litres by 1,000 to go from milli to micro, and so the actual concentration should stay the same, the number should stay the same, but I'm reducing the volume and the mass by the same amount. And so same, we can 1 nanogram per nanoliter, etc., etc. If we've got something slightly more complicated, so let's say we've got 1 microgram per milliliter. So that's the same. So if I want to, let's say I want to know how much there is in 1 microliter, I have to go 10 to the 3, divide by 10 to the 3 to go from milli to micro. But then I also have to go from 10 to the 3 to go from micro to nano. So we're just moving one arrow in the same direction. And similarly, if we want to go how many in a litre, then we have to go the other way. So there's an imaginary arrow here that goes to no prefix at all. So that's 1 gram. Sorry. So that goes from milliliter to just litre, and then microgram, go 10 to the 3 in that direction to go to milligram, etc. So you can use this kind of schema to move between the different prefixes if you want to look at different volumes in a concentration. And the third thing I want to talk about is if we're doing, it's easy if we're doing dilutions, for instance. So if we've got 1,000-fold dilution, for instance, so let's say we've got 1 millimolar diluted 1,000 times, then we're making it, that's kind of the same thing as this. So that's the same as saying 1 micromolar, because we need to make it 1,000 times less, so we go from milli to micro here. So we're dividing by 1,000, so we don't need to mess with the actual number. We can just use the units to do that dilution. So that can be useful sometimes as well. And if, let's say it's 1 millimolar diluted 2,000 times, then we can change again from milli to micro, and then we can just do 1 divided by 2, which is 0.5. So that's 1,000 times with prefixed and 2 times. So 1,000 times 2 is 2,000 in the actual number. It's probably a better way of saying that, but I can't think of it right now. Okay.